Good morning, friends, citizens, countrymen, countrywomen. It's time to take a break with Drake. That's what happens here weekdays from Washington State, 7 a.m. He's sporting his favorite t-shirt, the Drake Bulldogs. We're going to be learning a little bit more about animals today from our guest. You'll hear all about it today on Take a Break with Drake.
Yes, today we have the superlative David Gross, or as his mother would call him, David!
David.
Every time he'd go flying by the house, Aaron, every time he'd go flying by the house in his wagon, because he lives on this hill that it's steep enough to, really hurt yourself.
Uh-oh.
And he would just go flying right by the house at about 25, 30 miles an hour. Anyhow, I was in college with David, met him, at 20 years old. But let's go straight to David.
And he's the one clucking in the background.
Yes. And
here he is.
Yeah. Dr. Doolittle here.
Hey, how's it going?
He's the bunny whisperer.
Yeah, the bunny whisperer for sure. Yeah, Dave is, well, tell us, Dave, you're principal emeritus opus magnus at...
He's the emperor.
We last year we came up with some whole new titles that I hadn't heard before. So this year we'll have to come up with something else. But last year I was a dean and a provost, not just a dean.
Ooh,
Oh,
provost sounds a little bit more intimidating.
As you say, Dean, we bring on Eric Dean.
Yes, Angela.
He's the Dean, Eric and Angela.
I told you last night, my aspiration is Duke.
Duke.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
The Duke.
Child name from my brother. I want to sometime be that, so I could be the Duke of a school.
So you are the provost, dean, principal. You were a teacher. You do teach some at Pacific Bay. Is it, I'm saying something wrong or close. Is that right?
Bay.
Pacific Bay Christian Academy.
School, but yeah.
See, I knew I was close. Pacific Bay Christian School. Yeah, and you're in Pacifica, California. Right on. You're on the coast on the peninsula.
What's important is that he's near Taco Bell.
Yes.
The most beautiful Taco Bell in the world, according to Sunset Magazine.
Yeah, that's true. It's Taco Bell on the beach, and it's gorgeous. But anyhow, Dave, now you were born. Now have you been in San Francisco area all your life?
Almost. We moved out here when I was 8 months old from Denver.
Did you drive?
The story is that my mom was driving the last lap, coming over. This is prior to 80 being all improved like it is now. Whatever 6-8 lanes.
Oh, brother!
And she was going sort of a reduced version of Donner Pass, and apparently I was yelling my head off. So mom was driving, pulling a trailer, and nursing me all at the same time over Donner Pass, and my dad was sleeping next to her.
That would get you a serious ticket today, but those were wild days back then. Jim Hendrick, the Hendricks are here, yay! Hey, well, so you went from being a Bronco fan as an 8-month-old to being a Niner fan, but have you gone back to seeing the light?
Oh, brother!
Are you still with the Niners and the Giants and all that?
Broncos? Who's that?
Oh wow! Oh man!
Well, the Bronco is an animal.
Oh, yeah, I remember. John Illness. Ilway.
Illness.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He's a tough customer.
Now, listen, Dave, you're a Giants fan here, a Niner fan, whatever. Well, you say the Broncos are an animal. The 49ers are a different type of animal, too.
The 49ers are kind of the animal that eats Broncos.
Yeah, in the food chain. But
oh, goodness gracious.
So, listen, we've had some Dodger fans as guests. Do you have anything loving to say to them?
I come from a theological background that believes in multiple works of grace.
Oh,
and so I have hope for them.
You have hope for them.
Yeah, funny. even if they've had a salvation, sanctification, rededication, there's also the hope for restoration of sanity.
Oh, wow.
And
oh, goodness.
This is,
and you don't even have to wait till you die to have some of that clarity. The Lord wants to do that work in you
now.
before you. Yeah, so,
hey, well, so you've been in you've been just south of San Francisco in Pacifica. The house you live in now, is that the house you were in as a child too?
Most of the time, most of my childhood.
Yeah, boy, that hillside is your home. So you're at Pacific Bay Christian School. You're like the top cheese. Your dad had that position, right?
Top cheese.
Yeah, my dad was sort of a Swiss cheese, and I was sort of more like Roquefort.
Okay.
Wow, that makes total sense given your menagerie.
I'm not the head of the school. I was head of school for a few years, and one of my main jobs was to find somebody more capable to replace me. So I get to be all kinds of other things.
Okay, well that's good. Hey, so you went from you were attending this school as a child. It was called Alma Heights, but now it's Pacific Bay. You went to San Francisco to Simpson to college, and that's where we met. We were, I think, 1982 winter. What were you, a sophomore?
Yeah, I was first semester sophomore.
Yeah, I was just there as a sophomore too. But you finished one semester ahead of me, and I remember. So, what you were an education major?
I think probably when you showed up, I was still procrastinating on declaring a major.
You were procrastinating.
I was still weighing my options.
David. No, I'll quote your mother, David. You were still procrastinating?
I think I declared a major January of '83 finally.
Okay. I also remember winter '83.
Dr. Patricia Chapman, for anybody that might remember.
Yeah.
At Chapman, she set me straight. I made an appointment to talk to her about how I needed help figuring out what I wanted to do with my life, and she was in the Christian education chair.
Uh-huh.
I decided I wanted to be a teacher, and I was a Christian, so that meant Christian education. I didn't even know what the majors meant at that point. I was so clueless.
We have a photo of Dave as he's trying to figure out his major.
Oh yes, let's share that
from the annual.
This is when you were trying to declare your major.
You can't see that, Dave. But it's a picture of you leaping.
Yes, you're at the top of a staircase, and I honestly, it's been 35 years since this photo was taken. I still don't know how you survived this thing because the photo's being taken under you from downstairs. I don't know how you got down that staircase without busting a leg or an ankle or something. But
the real trick was for Kim Lewis, who was the photographer, to survive the photo.
Oh yeah, because you were going to pounce and crush him.
Pretty much ranting about where there was some kind of a tumble involving a camera and two young men, and we landed somewhere just outside the 24-hour room.
Because you needed 24-hour care after this. But hey, honey,
I had a fall on that staircase.
Yeah, and we used to tumble down that staircase and try not to do.
When I tumbled down the staircase with Tony Frisano and the Great Master Key, it was worse.
Oh boy, I don't know how you survived.
He was coming up the stairs, holding it over his head, and I happened to be coming down the stairs, and I took the hand off, but he didn't let go.
Oh my goodness!
And
hey, honey,
that was exciting.
Honey, we've got some more Dr. Doolittle photos of Dave here. Why don't we just share those now? This is a good time.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Drake. I see them. They're very tiny on my screen, but I'm going to go ahead and pull up the first one. Oh, there's some little girls holding some exotic chickens. These girls are students over at the school, right?
Yeah, the elementary school.
So cute.
Yeah, if it's a photo I remember, it's a couple of first grade girls holding a couple of silky chickens.
Cute.
So keep scrolling with those, honey. I want to get into
okay,
Dave's,
and then here's the goats.
Yeah. You're separating the sheep from the goats.
Totes my goats. That's so cute.
Yeah.
We keep the sheep completely off campus, actually.
Oh, really? Now these
we just keep the goats.
They're the ones that need salvation.
They definitely do.
So these are all.
Oh, now this has taken over the whole screen, but those are some That's a rabbit yawn.
A yawning rabbit. Oh, my
so
goodness.
Cute. Okay, now this guy needs a caption. Okay, everybody, please take 5 seconds and write a caption for this chicken.
I know what it is. Tina Turner visits the poultry farm. That's got to be what it is.
That's an hysterical. Oh my goodness! Now, what kind of? First of all, what kind of rabbit were you holding there? What breed was that, Dave?
That's just a good Pacific Bay cross.
Okay.
Definitely some lion head in his ancestry. So
goodness gracious,
the incredible floofiness comes from the lion head in.
That's awesome.
You have got the wildest chickens I've ever seen.
Okay, now this guy also deserves. I mean, they all deserve a caption, but please feel free. To share your caption with this. Magnificent bird.
That chicken there would change your oil.
You're so funny. Okay, there's like one more. There we go.
Goodness gracious.
Don't you love that hair?
Yeah, rock and roll.
It looks like a
Rod Stewart.
Oh, I know which picture you're looking at. You're looking at the chicken named Sassy.
Is that Sassy? Oh, and Sassy's no longer.
Yeah. She's not with us. The bobcat ate her about 6 weeks ago.
That's so sad.
It was very annoying.
Frank McKay calls it the poodle cut.
Oh, I think that was for the last one with the black.
Oh, yeah.
So, it kind of reminds me of that older gentleman who's has kind of part silver, part black hair, and I think he's a singer. I gotta look him up somewhere. Anyway,
Engelbert Humperdinck or something.
Maybe.
Hey,
but
well,
that's awesome.
Dave, you graduated from Simpson 1984. 84?
Yeah, May or June 84, whenever that.
Yeah, I think their graduations were always late April back then, but yeah, I don't know. And then you went to Pacifica, and you started out as a grammar school teacher, right?
Mostly 7th grade, my first couple of years.
Okay.
And then more and more. We were building the high school from 9th grade up as Becky and I arrived, and so we both taught, I think, one high school course the first year, and then we tended, and then we added more. She added theater class and produced a lot of plays over the years.
Oh my goodness! She's Shakespeare nut, right?
Yeah. She produced Midsummer Night's Dream and Les Miserables, Robin Hood,
heavens,
Up the Down Staircase, a bunch of great plays.
Well, that is such. Oh my goodness, that is such an undertaking. I was in a play as a sophomore in high school, and I look back on it now. I can't believe our English teacher didn't have a nervous breakdown. I mean, she did a play or two and then just stopped. But Becky's been doing them annually or so. Annually for 35 years, right? When did she start this? Late 80s?
Let's see. When you start with 9th grade, you don't have critical mass for a play. I'm trying to remember which year she produced the first play, probably 89 or something like that.
Yeah, so it's been 30-something years doing plays.
He took a couple years off when the youngest kid was born. So I bet she produced 30. We were teeing up Scarlett's Web, and she was making amazing piggy costumes and spider costume and
oh my
goodness, all that when the corona hit. So
yeah. Well, that's kind of changed your world, hasn't it? How are you rethinking education here in 2020? You've been totally immersed in it for 35 years, and then this hits. You probably never had anything like this happen before.
No.
And you shared some pretty interesting things when we were kind of briefing for this about how you're kind of excited about how everything's being rethought here. To elaborate on that.
Yeah. Well, what I'm not super excited about is kids with hours more screen time, but
yeah,
hoping when the dust clears that the challenges of trying to teach in the current circumstances will strip away a lot of things that shouldn't be there. So, like when you have a pile of dirty dishes, it's not that hard getting them ready for the next meal. You just take the dried food and all the scummy stuff off, and you wash it, you rinse it, you dry it, you put it in the cupboard, and it's shiny and ready to go. So, and there's a lot of old egg yolk and stuff like that stuck in education. So now we get a chance to just get that garbage off of there and start over with more essential.
Dave, I can tell I agree with you. There's a lot of scummy stuff stuck in education. I totally agree with you. What do you mean being in the middle of it? What needs to be eliminated?
Well, this is super idealistic, but behaviorism as a philosophy. So 20th century America kind of adopted a real pragmatic kind of a carrot and stick approach to education. So we reward and punish primarily with grades. Then parents oftentimes add to that system by, if you get an A, we give you $20 or whatever. And so what happens is that trains children from an early age to be motivated not by the image of God in them, who, like, God made us to love learning and to be curious and to name the animals.
Yeah, no kidding.
And to live in the garden and have this very full life. And he didn't make us to study real hard so we could pass a test, so we could get a grade and then forget everything we studied, because it doesn't really matter after we've achieved that reward.
Yeah.
Learning as its own reward gets lost. And one of the things that makes me feel so strongly about this is that I remember enjoying reading except in school as a little kid. Now, what's the deal with that?
That is strange. Boy, that's very intriguing, but it's very strange.
I think there's a lot of people like that. I think there's a lot of people that liked reading, but then the reading in school, see James run, James. It's an enthralling story, a tale of mirth and woe. He's fun. And then Sesame Street comes along, and you get a whole 20 minutes or so on the letter A. Come on.
Oh, I love this. You're getting torqued. I love it.
Our kids could learn some good stories, and they might learn the letter A in passing. Like, no, I don't remember learning the letter A. I always knew the letter A was always part of all the stories my mom was reading and telling me, and the story. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, yes, you do know. That's awesome.
Well, I like what you're saying, Dave. Part of it is like there's just a compartmentalized approach to learning, whereas you're looking at it from a more holistic perspective. It just should be a natural part of life, not something that's manufactured and, I guess, institutionalized in a way. But still there is,
like, if we think of people as like bodies with a brain, then we train them in a robotic sort of way. Like you want to get your robot to do what you want it to do. Well, you give it candy when it's good, and you give it, sour grass when it's bad or whatever. I like sour grass, but but people, like our little children, I guess the theologians used to argue about, like, are we dual beings or tripartite? And I think saying that we're just three parts doesn't even go far enough. We're our relationships in our communities, relationships in our families to start with, relationships with mom, dad, hopefully with God really soon, as we understand about him. And then we're soul and spirit, mind and body. And like, to reduce people to, bodies with a brain is just so dehumanizing. But I don't think, I think most teachers in the world aren't trying to do that project, but we grew up in that project. So all this brain research is interesting and everything, but like, mind is more important than brain. If you get where mind, you're starting, like, the connection between the physical thing between my ears, and I guess now they're suspecting that the brain might extend down the back and maybe into the gut. When we have a gut feeling, it's actually connected to our thoughts and emotions. But I'm sorry.
No,
He's waxing eloquent with
I
the
love
philosophies of education.
I love
that's
it
good.
because that's what drove me nuts about schools. I feel like we were just kind of chasing one finish line after another, and I would think, are we really learning this? And I discuss stuff after a test, and I remember one time I asked somebody who, an A student, I said, hey, that whatever concept I brought up, and they said that was last semester.
Right. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I got a B in the class. They got an A in the class. I wanted to discuss it. I thought, well, you learned it better than I did. It turned out I learned it better than they did, but they had decoded how to beat the test game. So they got the A and I got the B, and it turned out I learned it better.
About Simpson, I was one of the guys good at beating the tests, and so some of my experiences there were very dissatisfying, especially compared to holding Miss Minnie here.
Yes. Yeah. So you get a lot of joy from Miss Minnie here.
She's a great mom. She's raised a bunch of chicks. She's out of her brain right now. I'm trying to break her from being broody. She wants to sit on a nest all day on hay, trying to hatch eggs. There's no eggs there, and she's trying to hatch them. But tonight, in the middle of the night, I'm going to sneak in there and put baby chicks under her. And tomorrow morning, she's going to wake up and she'll, look at the amount of space, speaking of brains, looking about the space for brain here. And this is mostly air.
Yeah, that things probably have a brain the size of a sugar pea or smaller.
It is actually, no, it is. It's about the size of a pea. And so, anyway, I don't want to be insulting, but tomorrow morning, 5 little baby chicks will be well cared for because she'll have no explanation for this strange turn of events.
Okay.
She somehow sat on those eggs and hatched them for 21-day process. She'll wake up and she'll be the best mom ever. It's going to be great.
Dave, you're the provost of what seems like an elite school to me. How do these chickens? How do these chickens fit into this scene? Is this just a hobby or?
You know, elite chicken?
Yeah, the elite chicken.
Don't listen to this. Don't listen to this man. He doesn't understand.
So
this is an exceptional chicken.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, before she was even hatched, she flew here from Louisiana just to be part of our school.
So this is integrated into the learning.
Well, yeah.
Of course, everything is.
Imagine we had our first grade teacher was so gonzo about the real stuff that I could say, "Hey, Kara, I'm pretty sure the chicks are hatching today," and this would be like at 8 a.m. She'd say, "Really? Can I have them in the classroom?" So then I'd bring a box with Miss Minnie or maybe one of the other moms down to Kara's classroom, and then she'd allow the hatching process to disrupt her entire day because she knew that the letter A wasn't as important as a kid seeing a life and death struggle as these little guys are trying to get out of an egg, and the membrane inside the eggshell has to clot at exactly the right time, or the baby chick bleeds out before it ever hatches.
Oh my!
And it can't run out of. It has to have enough stored from the yolk and the white in the egg. If it runs out of energy, it's going to die, having just maybe one little hole in the egg, and it's going to you'll hear it peeping, and it'll get quieter and quieter, and it'll. I mean, it's a life and death thing, and the first graders got to see that.
Oh my goodness!
Because their crazy teacher knew which side was up.
Yeah.
On occasion. Yeah. Her lesson went out the door on hatch day. It was great.
Oh my
and then
goodness.
She would let them stay in the classroom until they were so stinky. A chick 1 day old, the amount of poop is just infinitesimal.
Oh.
By 3 years old, they're doing I don't know, a quart a day. Maybe it's horrible. And she'd come up she'd say, "Well, David, I think maybe it's time. Do you think maybe we could take them outside?"
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
That's learning. That's learning in high gear. Hey, well, talk to us about, we got about 5 minutes left. Talk to us about spiritual development and how that is a goal of yours, that these kids not just be little obnoxious intellects when they leave your school, but they be fully what do you do in that regard so they don't get stale, so they keep their love for the Lord alive?
Yeah. I mean, I think for most of us, we learn our faith from other people that are following Jesus. And especially when you kind of get some hints from what Jesus was saying to his disciples when he's talking to them right before his death, that the way his followers treat each other is going to be the way the world is going to know there's something real there. So my faith journey has mostly been about watching people and seeing, wow, God answers their prayer. Wow, they're dying and they're joyful. Wow, they raise their children without anger. So you see those kinds of things in people, and you think, well, there's something to that. So I think the main project at a Christian school is finding teachers that are going to model Christ while being, certainly intellectually sound. Your calculus teacher can love Jesus, more than anything, and be the best calculus teacher. So there's, God kind of came up with calculus. God's really good at math.
God
He's
made
the best at math.
God made creation by way of calculus.
Really, he's quite artistic, and God has the best sense of humor, right? I mean, look at this. So you want your children around people who do what they're the best professionals around, but they really love Jesus, and they want to be more like him as they go through their lives. And then of course, you want to open up the scriptures and memorize Psalm 23 with the little ones, and you want to imprint God's word in the kids' hearts. But I do think sometimes in Christian education we've said, memorize this verse, and then we've been crabby.
Yeah, and if you don't learn it, I'm going to be mad at you.
Right, even if we're crabby, or and then the whole thing of like, oh, you got a B- on Bible memory. Ugh. And now we're that's kingdoms in conflict right there.
Yeah, strange tug of war. So, your own children, what are their ages now? I remember when Peter, your oldest, was on the slide and he was in pull-ups, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, I hope so. I haven't been pull-ups lately. Peter's 33, 87. Let's see. Yeah,
I remember that. I remember that distinctly. Yeah.
Emily's 31, Glenn's 29, and Joey's 21.
Gee whiz, boy, the time. Well, hey, what does the school need right now? I mean, if someone, you've got just over the hill in Silicon Valley, there's people playing scatter chess with trillions of dollars. What would put your school so where it's totally set and you're like, wow, the endowment's all in place, we can do everything that we need to do facility wise? What could if someone came to you with an open checkbook, what would make you go, wow, praise the Lord, we got everything we need here?
Yeah, well, if they wanted to help us with facility, we think it's about $8 or $10 million to put up a really great educational facility with lots of varied learning, spaces, several barns for the alpacas that we don't have yet. I have alpaca T-shirts, but it's just aspirational at this point.
Yeah.
But and then an endowed scholarship fund would be amazing because it'd be so hilariously fun to be able to tell people that think they can't afford Christian school. It'd be so hilariously fun to say, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you can afford. Your kids can do tuition. Just call up so and so, and he'll tell you how to get through that challenge, because there's an endowment providing scholarship.
So and a check would be made out to PBCS.
That would work.
Yeah,
I could get that to
PBCS.
Cash, yeah.
Wow, it is 7:30, and
that's awesome.
We have an appointment at 8 that's 18 miles away. Dave, this has been inspiring.
Boy, that we just barely scratched the surface.
I know. Would you?
No, I have like 39 chickens left to show you.
Yeah, we have more chickens. Hey, would you come back on this autumn and give us an update?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we will do that. So that's awesome, folks. David Gross, Dr. David Gross, now recently got his educational doctorate, And this is Dr. Drake, and we're signing off. To be continued. More soon. Dave, this is inspiring. Behind you is the Pacific Ocean, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a little foggy. I can't see the water, but it's behind the water in the atmosphere.
Yeah, you got world-class surfing right there behind you. But oh my goodness, I want to keep going, but we've we've got to beat a deadline here. Until next time, the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Go in peace. Amen.
Amen.